Back. Yes, sir.
We're live.
How you doing, Pops?
Man, I'm doing fine. Beloved, assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam. You looking good?
You feeling
The
good?
shirt looks fire.
Yes. You know what I mean? It's been,
Yes, sir.
2 weeks since the last time we went live here?
Yeah, we took a little
2
rest.
weeks,
A little
right?
rest.
Yeah. You had to take a little downtime. Nothing wrong with that.
Downtime.
You know what I mean?
Hey, guys.
Peace, word.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Friends and family, welcome back to another episode of TwoTreys podcast. As always, I'm Sun Trey, and with me, like on every other episode we have, is Pop Trey.
Salute.
Pop.
Salute.
Go ahead and let them know what we do this for every time we do our episodes. Let them know.
Our goal and purpose for doing this podcast, and it wasn't something that, we just, concocted and sat down and wrote things, and we do this on the fly, but we do this specifically to bridge the gap between fathers and sons, between the elders and the youth, and to pretty much tackle and attack falsehoods with nothing but truth. You know what I mean? And at the same time, giving love to the Black community and to Black people, period. Nothing against anybody else, but we have to show respect where proper respect is due. So
absolutely,
we are TwoTreys.
Absolutely. And for those of you guys that are listening in, tuning in, and you love the message my Pops just told you guys, and you've been watching and you guys enjoy the content, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. It does us a ton of favor. Also, just leave a comment during the show, because we love to be as interactive as possible on this platform. So if you guys leave a comment, we will promise, if it's appropriate, we'll absolutely get to it.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
And with that, let's go ahead and get into the show for today, starting off with our honorable mention.
First and foremost.
This is a little, yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
It's a little something we've decided to do every show. Let's make every day Black History Day. So, Pops, would you like to introduce who our honorable mention is of today? And I'll go ahead and get our picture pulled up.
Yes, sir. Who we are honoring today is a famous underground writer. And I say underground meaning she wasn't part of the mainstream, just like our sister, Mother Sophia Stewart, who wasn't part of the mainstream. They tucked her in and try to keep her in their back pocket. And her name is Lucy Parsons, a famous writer, Lucy Parsons. Her name was Lucy Parsons. Oh, I'm sorry. You want to pull it up? There she is.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Her name was Lucy Parsons, and she was described by the local Chicago authorities as being more dangerous than 1,000 rioters. That was how powerful her words and philosophy were. She was no doubt one of the most influential people in the history of America. She was a socialist, a journalist, an anarchist, and a labor organizer. Lucy was known to have fought for the rights of the poor and disenfranchised in society in the midst of an oppressive industrial economic system. And to cap it, she did this in an era where radicals placed a woman nowhere else but as a housewife. She was active in her struggle for 70 years. And in those 70 years, she fought for equality of the various races in America. But she was not the type to beg for the subdued to be treated fairly. No, she believed that violence was the only way to transform the capitalist system and force the powers that be to respect and meet the demands of the workers. She wrote down every of her thought, beliefs, and philosophy. Those who knew her said that the things she wrote down alarmed the government of the time. The fear for her philosophies was so strong that the police and FBI stopped and barred her from speaking in public. In some other cases, she was thrown into jail. The fear for this woman's philosophy was so severe that on the day she died, federal authorities seized her books, writings, and journals about socialism and anarchy. They did this to hide her ideals and solutions from her followers and from historians who would eventually study and spread her philosophies. During her lifetime, she kept certain personal information away from the media and public. Top on the list was her background. A reporter once asked her to reveal her background, and she replied, "I am not a candidate for office, and the public has no right to my past. I amount to nothing to the world, and people care nothing of me. I am battling for a principle." Not so much is known about her early life, except the fact that she had African, Mexican, and Native American ancestry. When she was a teenager, she got married to Oliver Gathie, who was a formerly enslaved African man. They both had a child who they later lost. She would remarry in 1869 to Albert Parsons, who was a printer and a former Confederate soldier. Their marriage was not legal, as local laws didn't permit the intermarriage of blacks and whites at the time to be together, and also continued their anti-segregation movement. They left Texas for Chicago. While in Texas, her husband, Albert, was said to have extremely worked on registering black voters and was shot in the leg and faced numerous threats of lynching. When they got to Texas, they continued their activism through labor and anarchist movements. Albert got a job at the Chicago Times and worked as a printer. That era was when the United States fell into depression, which left millions of Americans unemployed. The authorities in Chicago reduced the wages drastically, and this led to the Great Strike of 1877. Lucy's husband was fired from the Chicago Times for rallying over 1,000 railroad workers to riot against the police. Lucy, at the point, became very radical with her writings and publications. She was famous for the Socialist and the Alarm, which were weekly anarchist publications that she published on the IWPA, the International Working People's Association. It's important to note that Lucy and her husband were instrumental in the founding of the IWPA. In a May 3rd, 1886 protest in support of 8-hour workdays at the McCormick Harvest Works, violence broke out and the police officers were killed. The government arrested Lucy's husband and charged him with conspiracy and murder. He was later executed in 1887. After her husband was killed, Lucy did not stop her activism and the struggle for the rights of workers, women, and African Americans in general. She also traveled extensively to give speeches. As a result of her activities in relationship with the Communist Party, Socialist Party, and a good number of other radical newspapers, the FBI turned their eyes on her and made it a sport to always arrest and harass her. But this didn't stop her at all, as she continued her activism till her death on March 7, 1942, at the age of 89. Salute, Miss Lucy Parsons.
Salute to Miss Lucy Parsons.
Indeed. Can we get a clap?
Wow.
Can we get a slow clap?
Hold on. Yeah, for sure.
We need one of those, man. On deck. Oh, ready.
Yeah, I told you I gotta get that little soundboard.
Yes, sir. Man, strong black woman. And
That's fearlessness right there. Just to be herself.
Right.
That's insane.
But it shows again how if you're saying something that somebody doesn't like, particularly the government, they will try to erase you. They will try to keep you in the underground so nobody can hear you. You know what I mean? And this is exactly what they tried to do to Mother Sophia Stewart. And we're not going to allow that any longer.
Word. And I think that's a segue to what we want to dive into a little bit today. As you mentioned, Sophia Stewart, we will have her on our very next episode of the podcast. Inshallah. So if you guys are watching and you guys are interested in knowing more about her bodies of work,
they know.
Includes, yeah, for sure.
Oh, they know.
If
they ever see the Matrix and the Terminator, they know.
Word.
Trust and
so
believe.
Yeah, definitely come out and show your true support for the body of work that she created. If you guys have questions, again, we'll be posting, especially now, on our Instagram's little segment, so you guys can essentially post your questions, or even if you have a statement, if you just want to give her a shout out, anything respectful. we will definitely send her way when we have her on the show.
Indeed.
So we're connecting you guys to the mother herself of the Matrix. So definitely do that.
Salute, Mother Sophia.
Word.
And
hey, Bobs, let's just touch on this real quick. Because I'm almost done with like I told you, I only got one of the books so far. I've ordered all 3, but I got the 4th one.
Right.
So this is her story of essentially what the 4th installment should have been.
Right.
I've been reading this, man.
Okay.
Yo. Now, I'm not gonna hold you, Pops. I'm not gonna say I did not. I just have a disdain for the 4th movie. I'm not gonna say that. However, after reading what I've read so far, I'm not even done yet.
Right.
This was supposed to be it.
Of course.
This is the script that relates to all other Matrixes that have come out so far. What the 4th one was, that was not in the same. That has no link to the first 3. This right here is the next step. That's the one. Oh my gosh, it's amazing.
So we can't do any more disrespect to Mother Sophia and her mind of coming up with this 4th installment by calling that the 4th Matrix. No more. We gotta start changing the language to identify what it is, exactly what it is. It's BS. It's nonsense. It's make-believe. It doesn't have any relation to the thoughts and mind of Mother Sophia Stewart.
Right, and Pops, you want to give the viewers a understanding of why that's so important that she was not a part of that 4th movie. Why is that significant?
Well, the significance in the main topic, the reason is they don't want her in it. They don't want her involved. They refusing to acknowledge that they stole the idea or the script of the Matrix, actually the Terminator, because the Terminator is the original. The Matrix is not a new version of any type of movie. It's actually an extension of the Terminator.
Right.
So, once you go down that road, it's just like a timeline. You know what I'm saying? There's a false timeline, and then there's the right timeline. Well, they took the 4th so-called Matrix 4 and went down a totally different pathway, in which this particular pathway takes you. You know what I mean? And everything is done, for the simple purpose for money. Some people are just greedy and they're thieves. So a thief is greedy, and a greedy person will steal. And when they did that, well, she saw exactly what was going on and she took action. And in this particular book, I actually have open right now,
Which one is that?
Oh, the Mother of the Matrix.
Word.
Yeah. And this young lady here is the author, is a co-author of this book. And in this book, she is asking Mother Sophia questions and what have you. And Mother Sophia doesn't have any reason to lie, or even have the capacity to make up a story, because her background fits. This woman is well educated, and I would have to say, I truly believe that she is, and was, when she was younger, considered to be an indigo child. I'm gonna ask her this when she comes on, you know what I mean? Because, it introduces her as somewhat of a gifted child, because she was so intelligent and wise, just like a lot of our people are. And they use her intelligence like they always do. The government is not, it's no secret that they don't use the smartest of the smart for their benefit, But fortunately, she wasn't taken an advantage of and went on that pathway. But she went to different schools of philosophy and thought and met the right people and eventually wrote a script when she was in USC. And but it's sad that they try to do that. It's sad that they try to do that, but I'm grateful that her story was out there. Like I said in the previous show that we had about her, I first read about her in the Final Call newspaper for the Nation of Islam, Salute. And that's where I first knew that The Matrix was written by our sister, Mother Sophia. You know what I mean? So, yeah, man, it's real. So just like Lucy Parsons, you know what I'm saying? Another writer who the government says we want to tuck her writings and journals and everything that she recorded and thought of onto the side. So that way we will never even know about it, never be inspired. And if you can't be inspired, you don't have any reason to fight.
Word. Real quick, Pops.
Yes, sir.
We have a comment left in our feed. Says from Ian White. Shout out to Ian.
Shout out
Fingers crossed. Pop Trey Suntrey.
Peace.
Word.
Salute.
Thanks for the good luck, brother.
Appreciate it.
But yeah, Pops. For those of you that are still out on, did Sophia write read this? Read her book. As soon as you read it, you're gonna realize that's whoever wrote this had everything to do with the first 3 Matrix movies. That cannot be. I've been reading the book, and I'm reading the book, and I'm enjoying myself reading it. By the way,
it takes
phenomenal.
It's
beautiful.
Yeah.
From the very first page. That's how you know it's a good book. But moreover than that, when you're reading this book, you're plugged right back into the where we left off in the last movie.
Right.
Yo, that's her. That's her art. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's the signature is left on the art itself. You know what I'm saying? Everyone has our own style of artistry, and even if someone was trying to plagiarize your art, there's just a certain way you do it that no one else can do it.
Yes.
You read this book, regardless of who wrote the book. When you read this book, you cannot deny that whoever wrote this book has direct ties, affiliations, has to be the same person that wrote the first 3 movies.
Well, again, I gotta remind you, son. The Matrix is the extension of the Terminator.
Right? Let them know, Pops. I don't think a lot of people know that. I didn't know that for a while now.
Right, and I didn't either until she said it, and it made sense. You know what I mean? Neo and John Connor are one and the same. Neo is John Connor as a grown man. So if you remember the Terminator, those, my age and older, when the Terminator came out, where was Arnold Schwarzenegger from? The future. Okay? So what's in the future? Robots, machines. You know what I mean? That has intelligence, right? So in that first scene of the Matrix, of the Terminator, that's the scene in the Matrix when Morpheus showed Neo what the real world looks like, with the sky being scorched, the sun being scorched, and it's a dark sky. Remember, back in the Terminator, the first scene was exactly just that, with big, giant machines or flying drones, because they're oversized drones, flying above, in the air, looking for humans. And in the Matrix, if you you know what I mean, jump back and forth, that's what Morpheus showed Neo on the TV. And then when they put themselves in the Matrix, yeah, that's exactly what it looked like. You know what I mean? So you gotta remember, the Terminator is first. Then from the Terminator, the Wachowskis said, "All right, I'm gonna yank that storyline and now be put in the future." And this is where they take it to the left field. But all of the ideas and the cinematics and the vision is all Sophia.
That's all her. Well, I'm reading the fourth one, and she. So guys, when you read a screenplay, because that's the format she has the evolution of conscious written in. She already has it written in screenplay form. So when you're reading it, she takes you in that world. She lets you know what's happening around you. Let's take a pause real quick. You're surrounded by white. It's just swirl this is beautiful art. I can't deny that from her.
Right.
No one can take that away from her after you read this book.
Exactly.
And I think it's great, you know what I'm saying, Pops? And I'm thankful for the opportunity for our podcast to be able to shine this huge light, cast this light on this huge shadow that's been what her legacy is going to be before she leaves. And we have to this is hers.
Right.
All we're doing is acknowledging the person where it came from, because that has not happened yet.
The creator. I mean, we're just acknowledging the creator. You know what I mean? And fortunately enough, like you say, it's a blessing for our channel to be so young and still, being in my perspective, a baby on YouTube. To have somebody of her quality and stature on our show is huge. And, for that, nothing happens by accident.
Yes,
I always told you, like, there's no such thing as coincidences. You know what I mean? And speaking of that, I have to give a happy birthday, peaceful born day to my first grandson, Caleb. He's turned 2 today.
Word. Happy birthday, Caleb.
Yes, sir. 2 days. Now Now I know we talked about it earlier, but I really want to get this out there so we can get some feedback. You know what I'm saying? I'm not, big on numerology. However, we did break some things down that corresponds with the number 2 and the number 3. Okay. I was 22 by the time I had my last 2 children, which were 2 girls, Aaliyah and Shay. They are exactly 2 months apart. February 3rd, February 19th.
You mean 2 weeks?
2 weeks apart. Sorry.
Yeah.
February 3rd, February 19th. But I had 2 sons at 18. Yourself and your brother Damon.
Big dog. Big dog Damon.
And then 2 years later, your brother Zaire. Peace, Zaire.
Word.
Now, and then 2 years after that comes your 2 sisters. You're all 2 years apart. However, there's 2 sets of you that are the same age.
Where that happened at?
I mean,
there ain't no nothing. That's not a coincidence, like you said.
No, that's not a coincidence. Okay. Now, Caleb. Now, Trishay, my first daughter, has my first grandson. Trishay she was 18. So 18 years later, in my life, I have 2 grandsons. My oldest daughter has my first grandson. February 17th, March 17th.
Mm-hmm.
You was born March 19th.
2 days?
2 days apart. Damon has Legend on May 17th. That's exactly 2 months. March, April, May. I'm sorry, 3 months.
You got it.
Oh yeah, April, May. Just 2 months.
Yeah.
Exactly 2 months from Caleb. The only 2 months starting with the letter M is March and May. Okay. The number 2 is also relevant in yours is March 19th, 98.
Word.
But the 2s come in as far as this is crazy.
A lot of 2s, a lot of 3s.
Grandpa,
and then we were like,
like we gotta write this.
What's the name of the What's the name of the podcast?
What's the name of the podcast?
That was an accident. I swear to God. Yo.
Both our names. Oh, my name is Tracy. And your name is Tracy.
Word.
So we're TwoTreys, right?
Easy. We weren't thinking about it too hard, right?
We weren't there. We was just like, oh, let's call it TwoTreys. All right. But now it all makes sense. You know what I mean?
Full circle.
The numbers don't lie, right? So, but what year was I in when I had your sisters? It was 2002. My grandsons were born in 2020. Your nephews will be 2. Caleb is now 2 today. Legend will be 2 in May. What year are we in? 2022. I can't make this stuff up. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. But now, here come the 3s. All right. Oh, I'm sorry. Grandpa had 2 sons as well. Myself and your Uncle Tori.
But then how many kids did Grandma have?
But how many children does Grandma have? 3.
Wow.
Now, let's take it a step further. How many children does your Uncle Tori have? 2. How many children does your Uncle Troy have? 3. 2, Trey.
And so it goes.
Oh. Now, how many of the family members have a birthday on the date of the 28th? 2. Myself and Zaire. How many people have a birthday on the 19th? 2.
No, me, Aaliyah, at least. Word.
You and your sister Aaliyah. Aaliyah's on February 19th. Remember, all right? You already got the space, the time frame in which all of y'all are born is 2 years apart.
Word.
You know what I'm saying? But Grandpa, I don't think it goes. It has to go backwards. I'm not the beginning of the pattern. You see what I'm saying?
No, word.
I'm just a continuation of it, right? But now, how many grandchildren do I have? I have 2 for right now. Grandma has a total of how many grandchildren? If you add that up.
I have to count. It's me.
10.
Oh.
I got 5 on my own.
Right.
Your
Those already
2
5.
uncles,
Right. 2 and
2
5,
uncles
2 and 3. Word.
make up the other 5.
Yeah, 2 and 3. That's 5.
That makes 10. Completion. Right?
Word.
So we could go on. I mean, it's a. I think I'm missing something, but you get the picture.
You get the gist, and I love the fact that
with the number 19.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Even though your birthday is on 19, the 19th day, we are doing the show on the 19th. and it's going to be our 19th episode.
Yup.
Can't make this stuff up.
Yeah, I was gonna say I just love the fact that in the first 3 movies, and then I'm assuming I haven't read the other 2 books that you have, but in the Matrix 4, I love the fact that she does not miss when it comes to blending everything together that we know about this world. You know, with known sciences, with pseudosciences, numerology, crystals, zodiacs, all that. She just blends it together so well into reality, where you have what we actually have is like metaverse and the actual Matrix, and the robot, the attack of the machines,
right,
directly against the spiritual and the enlightened ones.
right.
You guys gotta read this book, man. I'm honestly not the one to boast about a book if it's not. I'm not. You know what I'm saying. I'm not gonna. You know what I'm saying. Put some hot sauce on it if it's bland. No. This is the hot sauce bottle. I swear to you. Like,
but we gotta remember though, son.
Oh my gosh.
If a movie was great, and it was the first one, I would say that just first one. What is it derivative from? Book. Again, so if we don't read the book, we're not getting the full spectrum of the movie. The movie is just
right, because you're missing what the creator had envisioned. Right. The director, is gonna try their best, hopefully, that they're being respectful to the author and creator of the piece that they're working on. They're just there to recreate it as best as they can.
Right.
But when you read the book and try to see what the author and the writers and creators actually try to portray, you're gonna be missing a whole lot of Easter eggs and just good stuff, man. Just good stuff that you're not gonna get from the movie. And this book that I've been reading, The Evolution of Conscience, that she has.
Consciousness. Yes. Sir.
Game changer, man, when it comes to the amount of, you're just missing out. You're just missing out if you haven't read it.
Right. It's like you said, man, you're missing out. You know what I mean? But we're here to put that in the light. You know what I mean? Shine some light on her. And then when people reference the Matrix, they reference it in a way in which they are either still in it or they are awakening from it and see it for what it is, right? But you can't use that reference if you don't know that it's a book, that you don't know who the writer is, that you don't know who the creator is. You know what I mean? Like, because now you just basing it off of the movie. But you know what I mean? Everything that we see comes from every thought that we don't see. So if you're seeing just a movie and you're not knowing, you don't even inquire, who came up with this thought, who came up with this idea to put this cinematic movie together in story. You know what I'm saying? I remember when I first saw The Matrix, I was like, yo, something this looks familiar. You know what I'm saying? It resonates with me because sometimes when I used to go to work, I used to walk to work when I lived downtown. I used to have my headphones in my ears. This is when nobody was, there was Walkmans and whatnot, but people really weren't listening to music while they, walk on the street, right?
So you're saying you was the first dude that ever built the streets? You said I started that.
Like I said, back in the 80s, we had what's called Walkmans. It was a box player where you put the cassette in, have your headphones, and then you walk around listening to your music, hitting the button play, right? That was like our iPhone back then, except the phone. It was just playing music, right?
No, I get you.
So So we had that then, but speeding up to like early 2000, like nobody was really, wearing a Walkman or having music in their ears. So when I used to walk to work, I used to think to myself, listening to the music, I used to hear the music, but not hear anything from the outside world. I would see, but I wouldn't hear anything. I would just hear the music. And that put me in the mind of, man, why is everybody like seeming like they're doing the same thing over and over? And I caught myself in that same, aspect. Like I feel like a robot. You know what I mean? I feel like there's something more to life than just waking up 8 o'clock, getting dressed, going to work, getting off, walking. You know what I'm saying? It was something was missing. And then I saw The Office, or The Office Space, the movie called The Office, or The Office Space. It was a comedy, but it showed how a person who is supposedly, has like this high, quality job, and he has a cubicle. And he sits down in this cubicle in this big, office, and he doesn't have any vision of the outside world, anything. But I guess he gets hypnotized sometime in the movie, like in the beginning, and he stopped caring about things that he was programmed to care about. He stopped worrying about making somebody upset because he wouldn't do what they wanted him to do. He wanted to do what he wanted to do, and felt more freer than doing what they wanted him to do. You know what I mean? Like he had a supervisor that used to come over to his desk and talk about some type of reports. If you've never seen it, you need to watch it. It will motivate you to really quit your job and just do what the heck you want to do for the rest of your life, because you find yourself doing the same thing repetitively over and over again. And you're doing something that you don't really enjoy doing, you don't love. You know what I'm saying? After a while,
you get lost and you forget the why you're doing it.
You know what I mean? You
doing it.
You don't have a why. Now it's just a matter of programming. You know what I'm saying? Like, we are programmed to eat a certain amount of meals a day. Well, who told us that? You know what I'm saying? Is it the right thing to do? Now we're finding out, no, it's not. Well, some people are now finding out now, 3 meals a day is too much. You know what I mean? Eating less extends your lifespan. Eating more shrinkens it. You know what I mean? But we were programmed to think that way. Until somebody wakes up out the program. And that's what happened in this book. I mean, she it's revelation, but in the scientific, sci-fi format, or the sci-fi type of description. You know what I'm saying? Being caught up in the system, being caught up in the way of supposedly life, but that's not the real life. You know what I mean? That's supposed to be, that God intended for us to live.
Word. For something that's so at the end of the day, this is fiction. For something that's so fiction, she touches the human status. You know what I'm saying? Like the what we're all going through. She really made sure that you get lost in this world, because you almost forget that it's not as much different from the world we live in right now. So she really hits the mark on making sure she, portrays the human experience in this. And I think I've never read something so good. I've read a lot of things, Pops. Separate, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I may read something about love, right? A book about love, and that's all it's about. Or a book about, robots, machines and stuff. But what she took it all together and made it a human experience. So for the reader or the viewer, you have Neo, and and you can put yourself in his shoes. It's so crazy to me how well she was able to, touch that.
Right.
I don't know a lot of movies where it's one thing to make me feel like, this is a good movie,
Right.
and then another to make me feel like, well, am I in the movie? Or like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean,
that's different, man.
It resonates to your soul because you said a word earlier that is fiction. Actually, it's not. Actually, it's not. It's real life. It's actually something in which she depicted the future. And it's not something which she actually did all on her own. There's no such thing as an original thought. Remember, she was inspired by Revelation, the book of Revelation. So, reading the book of Revelation, it does, depict life. She just said, I'm going to take that depiction of Revelation and put it in a science fictional description or journey. You know what I mean? So it's based off of real life. And it's actually based off of what is really going on right now. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
There's a part. Oh, matter of fact, you posted it on your Instagram. You know what I mean? If you want to read that part or that page.
This is and that's what I posted on my Instagram. That was from the very first page.
Read it.
That was from the very first page.
Read it.
Okay. Let's see here. Maybe it wasn't, but I will read something from the first page. Let's do that. This is the very first page. As soon as you open the book, you're in scene, narrator go. It says this: the evolution of the earth was fulfilled in the realization of the prophecy, the polarization of the sun's gravitational field and attraction upon its increase, causing its rotational axis to shift. As a result, the planet began to rotate the opposite direction, counterclockwise, causing it to move closer to the sun. The sun now rose in the west and set in the east. This altered rotation decreased the Earth's gravitational pull, changing it both in polarity and density, which also slowed the aging process. Before the polar shift, man's greatest life expectancy was 120 years, but now it has been extended to 900 years.
Okay. So
that's something that's straight out the Bible. That humans living for 900 years. Where else have we heard that from?
The Bible.
Well, the Bible. Yeah, that's about it.
Well, I have exactly what you posted. There's another page from this book, and here it goes. This is the Oracle speaking. She says, "The people in the Matrix can only be free when they realize it is time to wake up. And they have to choose to do so." That's key. They have to choose to be awakened. So that's like saying, hey, yo, I have some information that can, will be helpful for your life. And you refuse to allow me to even share it with you. Right?
All right.
You just made a choice. You see what I'm saying? So she goes, there's going to be a great event which could free many people from the system. What event has happened in the last, let's take 2 years.
All right.
You know what I'm saying? The incident with George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, right? COVID. Okay? And now this so-called, Ukrainian-Russian war.
Right. And then in the Matrix, if you want to get an example out of there, it's when Smith himself is the virus. He starts making copies of himself and turning the whole globe into Agent Smith.
Put it like this. we are the agents. That's why he said, well, when Morpheus told Neo that we are all agents. Some of us just don't know we are. Some know we are. Some know that they are, and some don't know that they are, or that they can be used as an agent. So that's like saying I don't really have a criminal background, but let's just say I do. I had a criminal background, and you was a drug dealer, and I used to come buy drugs from you. If they want to get to you, they would first use me. They would pick me up and say, hey, we got, X amount of things that we can charge you with and put you in jail and take you away from your children, or, take you away from your loved ones and, throw you in jail, right? Or we won't use that to charge you, but you got to give us some information about Trey. I mean, what you going to do? So now...
Yeah, Neo was faced with that in the movie.
All right, so that means you're flipped. That's what they try to do to him. They try, you know what I mean? We know that there's somebody named Morpheus out there. Just give him up to us, let us know where he is, and you could go on about your everyday life. You know what I mean? They tried to flip him, but he wouldn't flip. That means he wasn't an agent, nor could he be used as one. Okay? So she says they have been asleep for far too long. Oops. And then she goes, you can only show somebody the door. They must make the decision to walk through it. You will find the knowledge, the inspiration, and opportunity that will lead you to the right perception to crack the codes of the machines. The spirit will always exist. Man.
There it is.
That's the
there
page
it
that you
was.
wrote. The page that you wrote, it's uncanny. And now I just read something, one page. I mean, now you see how deep.
It's like you know what it is, Pops? It to me, it's like, when you hear someone speak, and then someone gives you a piece of paper and you're reading it, and you're like, that's him.
Right.
It's like a fingerprint when when we speak and when we write. There's no making another you. So when me and you and other people that know of her work, when we're sitting here, we're reading this, we can confirm for you guys, she's not no fake or fraud. Yo, that's her work. This is her book. That was her.
Right. And
Matrix 4, not her. No. You can tell the footprint is there.
How important she is. Almost to the point of, and I'm not going to say almost, but oh shucks.
Pops, you still there? I can hear you. Let me go ahead and pass it back in. Sorry guys for the interruption in the broadcast. I'm sure he's just having a little technical difficulty. But yeah, I mean, y'all definitely got to get out there, get the book. Where can you find it? Well, there's 3 books that she has out right now. One of them is titled The Third Eye. The other one is titled The Evolution of Conscience, Matrix 4. And then she has her autobiography, The Mother of the Matrix. And where you guys can find those 3 books is on Amazon. Just type in her name, the author, Sophia Stewart, and you're going to see the 3 books come up that have to relate with the Matrix. Get those books, cop those, read those, enjoy it, and know the full ins and out of the movie. Be a very, very true fan to the body of work. Because it has to be told that this is her body of work. And unfortunately, she hasn't been given the recognition deserved. So one of our responsibilities as a people is to represent when the powers that be don't. And Pops, I think that's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to, you know what I'm saying, do what should have been done, but unfortunately, you know, she's been cast aside and not been given the recognition due.
Well, I'm not going to say. Well, put it like this: some of us did not provide her the correct platform, even though some of us did, but not your mainstream talk show host, not your you know, quote unquote mainstream, you know, TV show have given her the due respect, having her on their show.
Word.
You know
I mean, real quick, Pops. I mean, yo, we roll out the red carpet for the authors like for Harry Potter. We give her just due. You wrote Harry Potter. Thank you. Here's the red carpet. We you know what I'm saying, we give her just due. I don't understand why, for the person who created one of the most epic tales in the 21st century,
right,
has not been given her just due. It's insane.
She
deserves all the roses right now.
I think that's why we honored Lucy Parsons earlier, because their stories are just as similar, just the same. You know what I mean? Remember Lucy Parsons, the FBI, after she passed away, they raided her library and took out all of her writings. What was in her writings that they took? You know what I'm saying? That's like, silencing the truth sayer. You know somebody. This is what I always tell y'all when you're younger. Listen to the person who mainstream media says not to listen to. That's the person you should listen to. You know what I'm saying? People like Honorable Minister Farrakhan. Everybody who they try to silence and block out of social media, you better listen to him. Even Alex Jones. Now, I saw him interview the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and also Brother Reza. And once I seen the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan on his show, I started watching. And I'm like, if the minister says if you go on his show, he must be legit. He must be aligned. You know what I'm saying? It's about aligning yourself with those who have the like mind of yourself and myself. And at this time, it's getting very thin. And we talked about it earlier over the phone. There are a lot of people that are really being exposed for who they are and who they aren't. And then there's a lot of people that are choosing to be on certain sides of the fence. But that fence is not just one fence. Now that fence is being divided in that 1, that 2, come back, that 3, that 4, that 5. Now it's so many different lines being drawn. You know what I mean? Where do you see yourself fitting in? Are you on the side of Black liberation? You know what I mean? To do for ourselves, to get our own land, to start policing ourselves, to start doing for self, growing our own food? Or do you want to stay on this side where you're receiving the same thing? You want to eat the processed food. You want to, go out clubbing and partying all the time. Like, you want to drink. You know what I mean? It's like, are you a vegan? Are you a meat eater? Are you can't? You know what I mean? So, are you vaccinated? I'm sorry. Are you jabbed? Are you not jabbed? You know what I mean? There's so many different lines, and we need those who are exposing the hypocrisy in entertainment, the hypocrisy in the politics, the hypocrisy in sports. And we have people on scene that is doing just that. And that's their purpose. You know what I'm saying? I salute people like Kwame Brown, Bus Life. He's exposing the go along, get along game. That's what he calls it. And those are script readers. Those of our people that look like us, but they're reading from the script that ESPN or your news media puts in front of them to read. And it doesn't favor us. It doesn't benefit us. You know what I'm saying? Why is that? Why do people feel so strong to work against their own? But you're getting exposed. And now you stay over there. I'm not going to fight you. There's no point of harming you. We've never been that type of people. You know what I'm saying? If you leave us alone, we'll leave you alone. You know? I've taken part in a training due to a new position in which Allah has blessed me to be in. And that is dealing in working with children who've gone through trauma. Okay? And salute and enough respect to anybody who suffered a trauma in their childhood. Okay? Yourself, if you don't mind me, not throwing any castrations out there or anything of accusation, you're here to tell me if I'm lying or not. But you have siblings and yourself that have been traumatized by your childhood. I myself been traumatized in some sort of way from my childhood. We all have been suffering from trauma due to what happened to us as children. And we are affected by it. Some people are affected in the worst way. And that's where you find these people in what is called group homes when they get older, or even when they're children. When that happens to a child, it's like it's like God intended your mind to think a certain way based off of your parents, right? But now, if somebody that has an evil intent does something evil or bad to you, your pathway of thought is now altered.
Yeah, the perception.
You know what I'm saying?
What's up is down and what's down is up.
Now you're going in a direction which wasn't the intention for your mind to be. So, unfortunately, Caleb, your nephew, my grandson, we have not been able to be around him so that he can have an influence of us, his natural bloodline. Now, I hope he is around his father and, he's getting that type of, influence and knowledge. But if he is not, then what is happening is those male figures that are maybe around him the majority of the time, they don't think like us. They don't have our characteristics and traits. So now what happens is that Caleb could be possibly being influenced into a thought that's not of his own. You see what I'm saying? That happens to a lot of our children, and then it factors into what happens to us later on in life. So those who are taken out of their homes and put into foster homes, and put into either adopted homes, and then they get the mistreatment in those foster care homes or in those adopted homes, and now you're furthering, you're damaging that brain even more. You know what I mean? And then you're taking them further away from the connection of their family, of their bloodline. You see what I'm saying? The further.
And Pops, just real quick, this generation I don't feel really understands the true value of what it means that comes along with family. It's something that we,
it's a disconnect.
It's not priority number one when it should be. Unfortunately, I come first. I come before my family and friends, and it's just an awful way that we're living right now. But yeah, it's the disconnect from family is just the biggest thing I've noticed as an overall issue that we're all going through as a generation. It's just the lack thereof. It's so crazy because at this point in time we have the ability to be anywhere, anytime, be able to connect with anyone as quickly as possible.
Right.
And yet we're the most disconnected, So it just astonishes me with that,
It all derives from our past, our childhood. You know what I mean? Something in our childhood formulated and shaped our brain and our thoughts. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
To think a certain way because somebody had an evil thought of their own.
Word. And real quick, Pops, shout outs to Leah. She posted on her story, I think a couple days ago, exactly what you're talking about. And it's the story of the hero versus the villain. What's the difference between them? Well, there is no difference in their backstory. They both went through trauma.
Right.
But it was the way they dealt with it after the fact. So the hero says, oh man, I had to go through that. Let me do this. Let me make sure no one ever has to go through what I went through.
Right.
The villain, whatever that trauma was, let's say the superhero and the villain went through the same exact trauma. However, the reaction afterwards is totally different. The villain says, oh, the world hurt me. I'm gonna hurt it back. Right. So
the victim becomes,
and that's where it splits.
Right.
The two opposing the so you have the event here, and you can either go this way or that way.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
So it comes down to that.
It's as simple as that. You know what I'm saying? And that's the yin and the yang, the good and the evil. You know what I mean? The bad. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, it's the superhero concept. You know what I'm saying? And, even right now, with America telling Americans, with the government of America telling American citizens that Russia is bad, right? And we got this misconception now that Putin over there is a terrorist. That's what they're trying to make him out to be, terrorizing innocent people. Well, that's not necessarily the truth. You know what I'm saying? Ukraine actually was a part of Russia at one time, but Ukraine is way, I'm saying there's no difference in racism, but you can't call one racist can't call another person racist, and they're both racist.
So, like I was saying, in the story of the hero and villain, the creator of that story has to make a defining feature on the villain, so you know that the villain's the villain and the hero's the hero. Because if you don't, they're the same person.
Exactly. Now, but when a villain knows that they're a villain, and then they try to make themselves look like the good guy.
All right.
And then when truth is expressed and exposed, now it's like, oh my gosh, it was you the whole time.
All right, that's where you have like your
that Scooby-Doo moment.
My nerd bag, right? So you have your Dr. Dooms, you got your Lex Luthors, who portray themselves as the most amazing, and you know what I'm saying, they win the hearts of the people. What did they say in scripture? That the devil fooled the whole world,
right?
Into believing what? In believing he was God. Right. So you know what I'm saying?
Well, it's like he said,
it's
like,
crazy.
There was a conversation with God and the devil, and which devil told God, "I'm gonna come in their straight path. I'm gonna come from their left. I'm gonna come from their right. I'm gonna come from behind them. You know what I mean? I'm gonna make them think what's up is down, what's down is up. I'm gonna have them so confused that they will all deviate." Right? And God said, "Oh shit." In layman's terms, you do whatever you think is necessary to expose those who claim they are with me. I will let you turn those who are not really with me and towards you. And those who go will receive the same chastisement as you. Best believe. And that time is up. He gave the devil the time. He said, "I'm gonna give you reign. Go ahead, rule. But when I come, just know that whoever goes with you will stay with you and will suffer the same chastisement as you." Good luck.
Word. Hey, Pops, before I go ahead and try to wrap this up for us, is there anything else you'd like to add? Anything you want to discuss a little bit further?
I mean, right now, man, it's all about Sophia, Mother Sophia. You know what I'm saying? I've been studying for these past 2 weeks. I've been, I just don't want to
getting our questions ready.
I had a lot of questions, you know what I mean, and hopefully she'll take.
I can imagine you do, because I've only read the one, not the first, but the one book, and I'm just I'm not even first. Right. I'm not even done, but I got so many questions. You read all three, so I can just imagine.
Absolutely, and
we get to ask her directly. Isn't that something?
Directly, yeah. You know what I mean, and for the world, we got Sister Sophia, Mother Sophia Stewart on the show. Like, y'all don't have anything to ask the Oracle? What? I mean, some people have, you know what I mean? I'm just like, come on, people. Like, what y'all do? Y'all don't believe that she wrote this book? Or she wrote the book that turned into a movie? I mean, you want to see proof? I got it. It's all in here. It's all in the third eye. Like, she doesn't hide anything. That's why I told a friend of mine, everything is proven in black and white. Well, everything that your story is proven in black and white, meaning that things are written down, truth and falsehood, right? But the truth is written down as well, and if that resonates and it makes sense, then that's true. So when court papers are produced, how can you disagree with court documents, FBI documents? There was an investigation. Like, this wasn't, some civil lawsuit that you can see on Judge Mathis. Respect Judge Mathis. This wasn't it. This was bigger than that. You know what I'm saying? This is what put the copyright laws in order, in effect. You know what I mean? This changed a lot of what is going on now when people try to steal things and copy things. And, you know what I mean? If it wasn't for her, we wouldn't be able to do that. You know what I mean? I just don't realize, I don't think that other people realize how important she is to us. You know what I mean? I was saying something earlier before I got cut off. I don't know how much y'all heard, but I put her in the respect of a mother, in respect of a God, a goddess. You know what I'm saying? And that's real. You know what I mean? Because she's the only one who took revelation and made it the way it is. You know what I mean? And everything that is going on today is coming to fruition. You know what I mean? And people like herself, people like the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, you know what I mean? People who, you know, are talking truth to power and exposing. There's a lot of things that the minister said that I had to go back and listen to back in like 1986, 85. And it resonates to today. You know what I'm saying? I know. Hey, there are many prophets among us. There are many people among us who go unrecognized because our eyes refuse to look and acknowledge who we're truly in looking at.
In the presence of, absolutely.
In the presence, yes. You know what I mean? And it's not something in which we got to go backwards and say, well, those individual people only existed back then. No. These characteristics of good and evil exist throughout time. You know what I mean? There's not no one man named Jesus. There are many types of men that done the work like Jesus. But none has lasted this long other than the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. You know what I'm saying? We just got to wake up, man, and recognize what the time that we're living in and what must be done. And that's a series from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. The time and what must be done. Please listen to that. That's all
right, viewers, go ahead and do us a favor. That's going to be the end of the show. So go ahead and absolutely leave a comment. Also, we forgot to tell them, let them know if you guys ever want to donate to the channel, go ahead and hit the description link below, and there we have our donation link, and you'll be able to click our PayPal and submit what you'd like to submit to the channel if you support us. So we appreciate you guys for doing that.
We appreciate it.
All right.
Much love.
Well, Pops, another great conversation with you.
18 is in.
18 is in.
19 is around the corner.
19 is the one you should look out for. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I'm ecstatic. So yes, sir. On March 19th, we'll be back on, guys. Hey, Pops, I forgot. What time was it that we're the show's gonna be on the 19th?
8 p.m. Eastern.
8 p.m. Eastern time. So March 19th at 8 p.m. is when we'll be having. We'll be back on for our 19th episode with our special guest, Sophia Stewart, writer, creator, author of The Matrix, Terminator. Yes. That body of work. That's her. Yes. She'll be on. Absolutely. Like I said earlier, me and Pops will be posting on our Instagrams and our other social media accounts ways for you guys to be able to interact with her by leaving a question for her. And then if it's a respectful and or appropriate question, we'll maybe get around to it during the live feed. If you guys want to ask questions during the live feed, maybe you don't have a question right now. But maybe you'll have one, while the show's playing out for us all. Right. You'll be able to leave a comment. So definitely be engaged as much as possible, guys. We'll try to do our best to outreach to you guys, but you gotta, extend the arm back. And with that, it's a wrap.
It's a wrap.
Another episode of TwoTreys.
TwoTreys
podcast. Love you too, Pops, man. This has been beautiful, man.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well,
enjoy your Thursday
we're happy
night.
You guys came in. Y'all have a great night. Pops, yes, sir. You have a great night as well.
Salute. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. God bless you all out there. Until
take
Saturday
out
on the 19th.
Track,
oh, word. My fault. My apologies. I'll play the track I just came out with called Bend the Knee. I know that's one of my favorites I came out with so far.
Yeah, my favorite too, man.
Kind of blends into what we've been talking about today.
Absolutely.
Word.
Yeah.
So I'll go ahead and get that pulled up for us.
All right.
But with
peace
that,
and love.
We're out. Y'all enjoy the track. But other than that, we're out of here.
Salute.
Salute, Pops. Have a good night.
You too, son.